short nail and long nail. Joey, if you could open the top, please. On top, you're going to find most of the insertion instrumentation. We're going to start from the very beginning. Joey, if you could please grab out the handle. Your guide. We're going to do the short nail, so we're going to start out with all of the cannulas. So all 6 of these cannulas and arbitrators, please. Make sure that when you put these inside of each other, you go ahead and screw this internal one in. Otherwise, you will be chasing these across the floor if the doctor picks them up by the far end. Arbitrators. Go ahead and bring out your locking nut and your impact head. On the impact head, you'll notice on the top of the handle, there are threads here. That's where your mushroom-shaped impact handle goes. It sets a little bit off to an angle. Do not try to put it in straight up and down. You will cross-thread it. If it's tough to go in the first couple of turns, back it up and realign and try to do it again. This piece is going to be your locking nut, which will attach your nail to your handle. Do not leave it inside the system because, again, if you pick this handle up, this nut will go flying and you're kind of done for the day once that happens. Go ahead and grab your acorn tip screwdriver out. If you have a mallet in your ortho set, please use that. This mallet is a little bit insufficient for this, so it's best if you use a large, heavier mallet. I'm going to go to the second tray now. We're going to pull out this large drill bit here. We're going to pull out our depth gauge for the ball tip wire, not the flat wire, but the one next to it. Your pusher. This black piece here, and this handle here. Sorry, excuse me. That's all we're gonna need out of that tray. We do have, if your doctor likes to use an awl, there is an awl that's available inside the tray, but most of your docs are going to use the 17mm entry reamer versus the awl. So for the ball tip wire, if you happen to have the Synthes set, they come with a T-handled ratcheting wrench, but if you don't have one, we have a ball tip wire handle here as well. Go ahead and bring that out. Next level down, we're going to be doing the long nail, so we won't need the depth gauge, so we're going to use the short drill bit, T-handle for the lag screw, long screwdriver, we call this the funky screwdriver. It's a 2.5 hex for locking the lag screw in place. Let's get out your step down reamer for the lag screw. Short handle. Long tap. And let's go ahead and get out your short screwdriver shaft as well. The pins that we already have preloaded in here are going to be your 3.2mm entry K-wire. Go ahead and pull one of those out. And the other one is the 2.8 for the lag screw. I would suggest that prior to the cases, you preload with the lag screws and all of your K-wires. This just makes it easy and ensures that whenever they open the set, everything's there. And that's it. We can go ahead and start putting the trays back together to give us a little more room. Now we've laid everything out in order of usage, so you can see how everything is set up prior to engaging with the doctor or with the tech for the case. We always try to do this. It just makes life easier when things get a little crazy in the room. If everything is laid out in accordance to usage, there's really no question of what's next. So what we're going to do first to start the case out, of course, is going to be the 3.2 access wire. Once we do the 3.2 access wire, at that point, we will go in with the 17mm opening reamer. Once we've got that opening reamer, we'll use the ball tip wire, which has the black ends. If you have a small canal or you have a patient that's got a very large portion or large fracture and you have a hard time getting that wire across for exchange for the nail, since our nail will not go over the top of our ball tip, we'll exchange it to a nitinol wire by going with the exchange tube over the ball tip, removing the ball tip, putting the nitinol wire through the exchange tube, and then pulling the exchange tube. It's very simple. It's old school. Most of your doctors should understand this process fairly easily. Once we have our ball tip in, we'll measure the ball tip with our ribbon measurement device by going straight over the top of the ball tip wire and placing the hook portion at the top of the greater troche. This will give you your measurement with a small black line that's on the ball tip wire. Once you get your depth, you go get your nail. When you get your nail, we're gonna say this is a 320. Joey, if you will pick up the nail, pick up your handle. There's a notch on the handle that when you rotate it through, it will attach. You should feel it click into place.
There's nothing rod in there.
Just to kind of give you an idea, yeah. But there you go, right there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this in. What I always tell people to do is hold their finger on it and actually screw the rod onto the locking screw first. This makes it much easier than the old technique of sitting the rod on the table and putting it over the top. Rotate it around. There you go. Now at this point, we're gonna lock it into place with the acorn tip screwdriver. This does not have to be super, super tight, but some effort. Once we've got that in place, the first thing we want to do to ensure that our alignment is correct is to take our longer guide tube, slide it into the 130 or 125, depending on which nail you're using, and it should align directly with the hole, and you know your alignment's correct. There you go. At the bottom, you'll notice that there is a small plastic wing nut. Once you're all the way in, go ahead and tighten that in. Oh, you're in the 125. There's also a 125 device. It's a little bit longer because it has to pass the 130 hole. So it says 125 on it. When you tighten that down, that will hold the tube or the arbitrator into place, as you see. Okay, go ahead and remove that arbitrator. Once the nail's in place, your arbitrator is through, your tube is through. At this point, we're going to insert our 2.8 wire that's for the lag screw. Once they get this center, the doctor will measure the depth of that with the white depth gauge. Leave that in. Hold it in place there. By placing the hooks over the top down to the top of the larger tube, like so. This one measures out to a 90, so a 90 is the length that you'll want. You'll need to leave the tube in, or the wire in. Hold it at this end so it doesn't pull out. You'll unscrew the center tube or cannula. At this point, they will drill in with the step-down reamer, and you'll notice on the step-down reamer it has a small window. This small window gives you a stop for your length. Go ahead and put the 90 inside that window. Screw it the other way. It's backwards. There you go. Now it should slide them down. Once it's slid back and tightened, at that time he'll ream over the top of the wire. It will stop at the 90. Keep pushing it through. You're a little bit off on it. There you go. Once it's all the way through and it stops on the 90, take an x-ray to ensure that that is your depth for your lag screw. Okay, go ahead and pull that out. Push it. Pull it out. No, yeah. There we go. After you've done that, if you're using our carbon fiber lag screw, you definitely want to tap. At this point, we'll use the tap. While you're doing the tap, now is a good time. Keep tapping through. You'll see it push right through. There you go. Now after you've tapped, go ahead and pull that out. We're going to attach the lag screw to the lag screw insertion handle. Lag screw's right there. It doesn't matter how this rotates on. You'll just put it on the end until it makes a clicking noise, and then tighten the nut that's at the far end. There's teeth at the end of the handle that will interdigitate with the lag screw. And you see how there's no gap here. You know it's in place correctly. Before you hand it to the doctor, make sure this is screwed all the way back. There you go. At this time, the doctor will insert over the top of the guide wire. Once it's in place, you're going to pull it back just a little bit. You went a little deep there. You'll notice the grooves on the lag screw. These will align by the handle either being longitudinal with the handle or straight up and down. So just like that. So he's got it. We'll pull the K-wire. At this time, we're going to take our long 2.5 millimeter hex screwdriver. Going to go down through the top of the screw hole that's cannulated there. We're going to tighten the lag screw internal pin. Go ahead and tighten it down. Mm-hmm. If your doc's wanting compression, you'll tighten it all the way and then you'll back it up about 1/8 of a turn. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to take the handle off the lag screw. And we're going to remove the cannula. Now that our lag screw is in place, some doctors want to keep the handle on to control the nail. A lot of them don't. We're going to go ahead and take the handle off to make it easier. So go ahead and take your hazelnut or ball tip or acorn tip screwdriver, depends on where you're from. At this point, we're going to freehand our screws, doing the perfect circle model with the 2 dots versus the standard perfect circle that you'll see. We'll teach you that in our technique. Once you've done that, you measure your depth with our depth gauge. Once it's measured, you'll either use power or standard handheld short screwdriver to screw in the distal screws. And that completes the construct for the long thermal nail.